Good morning, my friends. So we are working in our Let's Learn About the Elements of Art packet. So far, and I actually, I spilled something on my first packet. So if that happens to you, send me an email and I'll send you a new packet. I actually I had it sitting on my desk and I had iced coffee and it was hot that day. So the condensation dripped everywhere. So I haven't done, in this one, I haven't done the color section, but you will have on yours. So far we have learned about color and we have learned about line. So the color section I haven't done in mine because I had to start over. But we did the line section last week. We practiced making different types of lines. And we thought about how lines can show feelings and emotions. We thought about happy lines and angry lines. So today we are moving on to shape. So line flows nicely into shape because we use lines to make shapes. So for today, to work in your packet, you are just going to need a pencil. I think I might use a crayon or a colored pencil just so you can see. You should just use a normal pencil at home. I'm going to use a colored pencil so that you can see my lines a little bit easier. Okay, so shape. Lines are used to create shapes. So you can see here how I made a square. A square is made up of 4 separate lines that come together. For it to be counted as a square, it has to have straight lines that are the same length and that meet each other at a 90-degree angle. So that's a right angle. So in math class, it would be drawn like that. That shows that it's a 90-degree angle. A circle is just made up of 1 line, right? I just drew 1 line when I made a circle. Triangle is 3. A rectangle, different from a square, is made up of 4 lines. They do still meet each other at a 90-degree angle, but they are not the same length. 2 of those lines are longer. So there are 2 types of shapes that we are going to think about today. There are geometric shapes. So those are the shapes that you're used to. If I asked you to name a shape, you would probably name a geometric shape for me. You would say circle, square, rectangle. Those are all geometric shapes. They use uniform measurements and mathematical equations. Even if it doesn't seem like math, shape really is a math concept, just as much as it's an art concept. So for something to be a geometric shape, it follows a rule, right? There's a rule about what makes something a circle, right? It's 300, so this is a 90-degree angle. A circle is 360 degrees. It makes a full circle. It's round. There's a mathematical equation. There's a math definition for what a circle is. Same thing with a square. So geometric shapes are definable. Organic shapes are freeform and don't follow the same rules. So a geometric shape is any shape that you create or someone else creates or is in nature. It's any shape that doesn't follow a rule. So if I just drew a wibbly wobbly shape, right? That's an organic shape, right? Because there's no rule that tells me what makes this shape a shape. There's no name for this shape, right? Usually if it has a name, it's a geometric shape. If it doesn't have a name, it's usually an organic shape. Other than maybe something if I drew, oh, this is a leaf shape. Okay, so we are done on that page. For you, there wasn't really anything to do on this page. I just did some little doodles along the way to explain things to you. Okay, so shape is a short section. So for this, you're just gonna kind of show me that you know the difference between a geometric shape and an organic shape. So we are going to trace the geometric shapes. We are going to color in the organic shapes. So if I were you, the strategy I would use to accomplish this is I would start with tracing the geometric shapes. I'm just gonna use my regular old pencil. You could use a crayon. So I'm tracing the triangle. Did I do the right thing? Should I have colored it in or should I have traced it? Right? It's a geometric shape, so I'm tracing it. So it's a geometric shape Why? You friends at home, pretend like I'm there listening to you answer the question. What makes this a geometric shape? Is it because I can define it with like a rule, right? Is there a rule that makes something a triangle, right? A triangle has a rule. The rule is 3 sides. Usually, if it has a rule, it's a geometric shape. So pretend like my square is an actual square here. Is there a rule for what makes this shape? There is, right? It's that there are 4 sides. They are, in theory, equal length. I think mine came out as a little bit of a rectangle, but it was supposed to be a square. Is there a rule for this shape? Right? Is there a rule for how many curves, or is there a rule that you could use to describe this shape? Not really. It's kind of just like a wibbly wobbly shape. We're going to color it in. So when I color in a shape, I could start by tracing around the outside of it and then going back and coloring a little bit faster. We know that we always want to use our best craftsmanship. Craftsmanship is how neatly you do your work, right? So I want to make sure that my shape is colored in all the way. I haven't left any spots. It's not like super dark in one spot and then like randomly light in other spots. I want it to be like kind of the same, right? We're learning about shape, but we're always practicing good craftsmanship. Okay, so for this one, pretend like it's a nice perfect circle. So is there a rule for what makes something a circle? There is. So it is a geometric shape. We can trace that one. Is there a rule for this shape? Not really. It's an organic shape, so we get to color it in. Let's see, the last ones I'm gonna let you, this like bottom half of the page, I'm gonna let you do completely on your own. But really quickly, tell me if I'm doing a good job. You give me a score right now on a scale of 1 to 3. How good of a job did I do with that shape? Hopefully at home, you're giving me like a sad face, or a 1. A 1 would be a does not meets, right? So sometimes in art class, when we used to have art class in person, you guys would do really nice, beautiful drawings. So you would draw something really nice, but then when you went back and colored it in, you would color it in like this, and you would completely lose. You'd lose your shape, or lose what you've drawn, right? Can I even tell what this shape is? Is there a difference between what is here and me just scribbling somewhere on the paper? Not really, right? I've lost my hard work that I would have done if I had drawn this. So when we color things in, we want to go nice and slowly, even if it's a little bit painful. And right, sometimes we even still go outside the lines. It doesn't matter if you go outside the lines a little bit, it matters that you are doing your best job. Okay, my friends, these shapes I'm gonna ask you to do on your own. So ask yourself, is there a rule? Is there a rule for what makes this a shape? Right? Is there a name for this shape? Is there a name for this shape? Okay, so you should at home right now pause the video and color it in if it's organic. Trace it if it's geometric. So if it has a rule, I trace it. If it doesn't have a rule, if it's just kind of like a random blob, you just color it in. Okay, my friends, so I'm gonna have you pause the video and come back to me when you are done. All right, so we are actually doing 2 sections today, but before we move on to that second section, we will flip back to the very beginning and write in what makes something a shape. So you're telling me in your own words or pictures, what is a shape? A shape. Use it. I'm writing my own definition. Yours can be different than mine, or you could kind of copy what I write. It is kind of up to you. A shape uses lines. to define a space. There are geometric shapes, geometric and organic shapes. There's probably a better definition out there, but that's just what I'm writing off the top of my head. Okay, so we have learned about shape. Now we are going to move on and learn about form. Okay, my friends, so now we are going to move on to the form section. So a form is a three-dimensional geometric or organic shape. So you could have something that is three-dimensional, that is a geometric shape. So something like a cube. A square becomes a cube. You could have something, though, that's more organic. So like if I take a ball of clay and I just squish it into a weird lump, that's an organic three-dimensional form. Two-dimensional art can create the illusion of space by using perspective and shading. So how we remember the difference between shape and form is you can say shapes are flat, forms are fat. So we do know that we can use perspective and value to create the illusion of a form. So I'm going to take my square here and I'm going to turn it into a form by using perspective. So what I'm going to do, and you can work along with me, but if you are in like say kindergarten, you could just watch also. So like kindergarten, first grade friends, if you want to just watch, you can just watch. My other friends, I'm going to ask you to work along with me. So I'm going to connect the points of my square, so the corners of my square, to this point. So this is called one-point perspective because there's just one point. And I am just connecting, and I go right through here. Oops, I kind of like went off a little bit. That's okay. I don't have an eraser. It's fine. So I'm just connecting my corners to my point. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a parallel line here and a parallel line here, and that makes a cube. So using value to create form is a little bit easier. So here I have a light source. This little sunshine is my light source. So when the light shines on my three-dimensional object, it's going to hit the object and put more light on different parts of the object. So like right here, you can kind of imagine more light hitting the object, but like down here, less light is going to hit the object, so your object is going to be darker. So I'm going to color in with my pencil or my crayon. You cannot do this with a marker. So I'm going to color in really dark where less light is hitting my object. I'm kind of following the curve of the object. And then more light's gonna hit it as we get towards the light source. So it's gonna get a little bit lighter in value until it eventually gets really light and goes sort of towards our white. You would also have a shadow because your object is sitting on a surface. And my shadow is going to be darker towards the object and lighter towards the edge of the object. So that's how you can take a flat shape and turn it into a fat form. Okay, my friends. So that is all we are going to do for form. So we'll flip back to the beginning of our workbook, and we will write in our definition of form. I'm going to write forms have 3 dimensions I'm gonna write forms are that. Hi, my friends. So today for your artwork section of your lesson this week, we are going to start by looking at an artist. Her name is Mary Blair. So you've probably not heard her name before, but you probably, most likely, definitely have seen some of her work or projects that she has worked on. So Mary Blair was an artist who worked with the Walt Disney Company. So she worked on Disney movies. And she also is probably slightly more well known for designing the It's a Small World lake ride. So this week we studied shape, and her work, especially on the It's a Small World ride, really uses the element of art shape a lot in her work. So this is a picture of her. She's an illustrator, so she is working in her illustration studio. She worked a lot with color. So if we scroll down to some of her artwork, you can see that the element of art color is a big part of her work, but so is shape. So if we keep on scrolling, so here we can see part of her work for the It's a Small World kind of concept. So here we can see part of a mural that she made for the It's a Small World ride. Is it a ride? If you've been to Disney World and have been on this ride, let me know what it's like. I have not been to Disney World. I don't think I would like it. I think it's a little too much pressure to have fun. I wanna have fun on my own terms, not be pressured into having fun. So here we can see a photograph of the her work at Disneyland World. I'm not sure which one it is, to be honest. So we can look at some of the images. Here we go. So these are the images that we're going to kind of think about. Oop, my computer is falling. So here are some of the images that we are going to think about as we are creating our work today. So you can see that she uses really basic shapes like ovals, like triangles, even some kind of organic shapes. So I'm going to remind you that a shape that doesn't have a rule is an organic shape. So you might see some organic shapes in here, but most of them are geometric shapes or shapes with rules. So I'm just going to show you a couple examples of her artwork. And then we are going to go ahead and we are going to get out a fresh old piece of paper, a pencil, and for this you could use markers if you have markers, or crayons. I think I'll use markers today, but crayons will work honestly just as well. So we are going to create a little castle or a little building or a little landscape, a structure. I'm going to use the word structure because that's what it is. We are going to create a structure based on the artwork of Mary Blair. Okay guys, I did a time lapse. You're going to start by making some basic shapes, adding some other shapes inside of them, and then coloring them in any way that pleases your little heart. I kind of made mine look like a little castle. I thought of some doorways and little flags and stuff like that. But really, there is no wrong way to do this. So when you are done with this, you can send me a picture. You do not have to send me a picture. What I am going to collect after one more week is the packet that you guys are working in. So the packet is what really has to be sent in to me after next week, not this week. Don't send me your packet yet. You still need to work in it. If you've sent in a packet already, I sent it back home to you. Okay, my friends, have a good time. Bye.